made a video with my titties out talking about job hunting, and actually posted it. But then I was like, what if a recruiter goes and find me and be like, no ma'am, we will not have this Jezebel here. Absolutely not. No ma'am. So I made it private or unlisted or whatever, because I was like, if I change my mind later on, then fine. Now, here's the thing. I've been having a hard time with like keeping up with my social media status, okay? And you don't necessarily, and I'm gonna make a separate video about this because I've arrived to a new point in my life, darling. I no longer care about like not being consistent. I realize that I'm like in it one moment, out of it the next moment, whatever. I'm not going to give myself a hard time about it. But I will say there are certain instances where you might want to be consistent. Not all instances do you need to be hyper consistent. You really don't. So you have to make that decision for yourself, right? And I was feeling like, well, you know what? The girls are making money at this. The girls are making money at posting videos, showing up online, putting up their videos, being, being like a thought leader, whatever have you, whatever they're doing. They're making a decent living at this. So I'm like, well, honey, I want the sweet life of Zach and Cody, and like I said in my last video, I was like, I want to travel, and I was thinking about travel vlogging and all of that stuff. And then you start to think like, how can I get into this, right? I just had this whole beautiful experience with the last contract position that I was on, which ended last month. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, damn, the whole point of me putting up that video back in August, was it August? I think it was August, about what's next for me was actually to say, I'm learning a couple of things about myself. In order to make things happen for myself in my life, I need to learn about goal setting, planning, and executing. You know what I mean? And being consistent with that. And I was saying to myself, I made another video. I don't like the video, so here we are now. It's great. Listen, it's cray. I'm sitting up here like, damn. The follow-up videos the follow-up videos that I should have been doing was like, showing, okay, my plan on making a plan, or what my goals were, attacking the goals, putting up shorts. I just didn't necessarily have a concrete formula as to how to do it. And along the way, I start stumbling. And then when I start stumbling and getting confused, I'm like, okay, wait, just stop. I just don't do anything because I get overwhelmed. I'm not going to lie. I get overwhelmed like nobody's business. And when I get overwhelmed, I do nothing. Okay. But I did have a bit of a blessing. We'll get into that in a little bit. I was thinking to myself, you know what? For me personally, it would probably serve me to do a vlog style video. And I'm always on the fence about vlogs because it's like, if nobody really knows you, who cares about like following you in your life and things like that? But I do think you need to have a story. And I think that it would serve well if it was a point behind it. You're just not saying, look at me, I'm eating Cheerios. Look at me, I'm walking my cat and my turtle. You know what I mean? It needs to be compelling. It needs to be a spectacle. It needs to be some sort of point to this. Okay? So with that being said, I'm thinking, you know what? I think I'm going to try that. I need something where it does not require too much planning, too much like setting up, because I am alone doing this. I don't have a team, and I just need to be able to record and go and feel comfortable and still share my story or share whatever it is that I'm trying to share. Be intentional, have a point. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, a vlog style it is. So what happened was the next step with all of this was literally finding a job. So yes, I want to travel, and that's important, but how am I supposed to finance traveling? Do you know what I mean? You need some coins. Point blank period. Hey, look, let's take a minute. Let's just take a minute to really unpack this, okay? It's so much to unpack. It's so many interwoven pieces in this woven piece. The fact that I made a video, the fact that, and one thing I don't like to do, And anybody who knows me knows this. Like, I'm not a big person about like telling the world what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? I keep it silent until it happens. And it's like, yeah, I'm doing it. You know, that's my thing. So it's so funny when I see memes and people like, you know what? You need to keep your business to yourself. I'm like, honey, I've been there. That's what I do. But the funny thing is, for a person like me, it actually is more beneficial for me to announce it, because I do keep everything so secretive. And so then to offset that whole ideology is that you have no accountability. You know what I mean? Unless you're truly internally driven, where you don't need necessarily accountability for the thing that you're setting out to do, you can go ahead and do it. You feel me? So it's like there's pros and cons to everything, and you have to weigh them out. And it's so funny because people get on social media and they make it seem like, no, this is the way to be, one all be all, this is it. You don't tell nobody about your plans. Well, in certain cases, it depends. Certain times you do need to say certain things. You need to introduce yourself. How else? Because it takes a team. It takes a team effort. Sometimes you can go and announce, tell people what you're doing, and someone can swoop in and say, oh, interesting. I've been down that road. Here's some pointers. Or I can help you in your journey. You feel what I'm saying? So you definitely have to balance it out. Okay, let's get back to it. The point I'm trying to make for me and my situation is, the moment I did that, I get a text message, okay, from my brother, and he's like, yo, there's this job, they're hiring, you'll be great for it, you've already done open enrollment, this is what you do as a benefits counselor or benefits specialist, and they're hiring for benefit counselors, and get this, you get the travel, you're traveling domestically, boom, right up my eye. I'm like, yo, you have to be kidding me, right? I literally just made a video about this. I think I made the video in August, the end of August. I get the text maybe a week or two later. I start the position 9/22. I'm out the door, I think, at the beginning of October. October was just so crazy. And so I really was not showing up on social media. That would have been a great time just to like kind of keep the camera going. Again, that's when I realized, listen, having a vlog style is better, because I'm just like, as I'm going and utilizing my camera, you know what I'm saying, as I'm going. Because if I wait to the end, which I'm now doing, time gets away from me. I get a little bit of uncomfortable with getting back into the rhythm, because now I'm off centered. And it's challenging. Like, the moment I like get off of the horse or break that momentum, it's hard just to get back into it. And I think everybody is pretty much the same way. And I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule. You'll find somebody say, oh no, I can get back on that horse real quick. But not me. That ain't me. Okay. So with that all being said, I said, you know what? I've been trying to sit here and do the video and show all the things that happened to me. It's the end of the year. I want to hurry up and get this stuff done so I can move on. Getting it done mean like get all of the video clips up and make all of the videos and enjoy social media and this and that and the third. But I'm having a hard time with doing that. I created, so then, I thought to myself, let me do like a sit down, confessional documentary type of video. Did it look fabulous, darling? I put one up in the stories. Look fabulous. And I didn't hit the points. I didn't mark it out well beforehand, and I thought I could just freestyle it. And I don't know, as I'm going through it, it just doesn't feel well. It just doesn't feel good. It's hard to put it together. So I'm like, you know what? You just need to do a whole new video. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do a whole new video. As I'm going through this debacle, I'm looking for another job. And I'm like, damn, I could be having this conversation now. So I said, you know what? Let me get into doing like the whole vlog style and kind of start implementing that now. I had an interview, when was it? Was that Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. I had an interview, had a virtual interview. I did that. And I put that up. So that was cool. And then I said, okay, the next day I had a job in a city. And I was like, you know what? Let me do that. Get ready, go down, boom, boom, bam. And it was fine. It wasn't the best work ever, but it was good. It was fine. It felt good. It really did felt good. And then also coming back home, putting it all together felt nice. And then I had this moment when I came back into the apartment, true vlog style. You keeping it real. I'm keeping it real G up in here. I takes off my clothes when I come home. Well, so I didn't have like nipples showing, you know what I mean? But I had on my bra, and I'm talking trash. Not really talking trash, but I was just talking about the experience that day. I edited the video, put it all together later on that day in the evening, and I go to upload it. I just had this feeling like, yo, bro, I don't know if you should be kind of doing that like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, because I've heard about these recruiters and people, and recruiters, non-recruiters, whomever, whatever. When you go to meet people, you go on these jobs, they looking at social media. And I'm like, first of all, you need to mind your business. If you're not, like, go to LinkedIn. If you want to look at anything, go to LinkedIn. I could see that. But going to like my TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or X is pointless. Like, I just don't know. So anyway, I kind of had the thought like that might be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been hearing, and I've been actually seeing on TikTok where several creators have lost their jobs because of what they're posting on TikTok. And then they have the nerve to go and record the conversation between them and HR, unbeknownst to HR, and then putting it on. I'm like, oh my God, watch. It's going to be a matter of time. If it haven't happened now, it's going to be a matter of time where laws are going to be implemented about like recording conversations without the other party knowing, and people getting sued and all of this kinds of stuff because privacy. It's going to get really, really messy real quick. It's happening right now. Right? So I'm just like, you know what? I'm trying to get my foot in the door right now. Let me get in the door. And then once I'm in the door, if I want to post, and not for nothing, that's another reason why I wasn't posting when I had the job like traveling, because that's a professional job. I don't want these people to like look around. Now, what I did do, and I suggest everyone do this, if you get a job, look into the employee handbook. I know people don't like to read, but look into the employee handbook and see if it says anything about social media. And I think now what employers are starting to do is like implement or put in writing the expectations of their employees while working. You should not be on Insta media while you're working. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't even do it on my lunch break. But then it got so crazy where it's like, I just said, I'm not going to do it at all. And I was recording certain things that I thought that had nothing to do with the company at all. Like, so I'm not making jokes about the employees. Or the employees that I served. I'm not doing any of that. You feel me? But then I was like, you know what? I ain't even going to post it all. I'll wait until this whole thing, because it's temporary. I'll wait until the whole thing is done and then upload. So that's one of the biggest reasons why it took me so long to post. And then now it's like, how do I get back on the horse? Because I broke the rhythm. But I still got some cool little videos that I still want to share. You know what? Honestly, it kind of makes sense. It's like a recruiter checking your social medias outside of LinkedIn is almost like a grocery shopper, right? Who checks the nutrition label, who wants to make sure they getting the real thing. Or if you think about like shopping for a car, you're like, okay, they give you all of the information, the car dealership, but you like, you go and check the Carfax. You put in that VIN number, you're doing behind the scenes investigation. It turns you into Sherlock Holmes real quick. You see what I mean? But I feel like the strange thing is, I'm trying to think, do we do that with other people? Like, if you're looking for a doctor, are you doing that with the doctor? Are you like, oh, I gotta check their Instagram because if they go out drinking on the weekend, or if they have this certain political views, like, come on. No, if you're looking for a doctor, a nurse or any type of professional, you want to check their professional credentials. You want to make sure that the doctor didn't leave a scalpel up somebody's booty hole. You want to make sure that there's no medical malpractice. I can see if you want to check that, but keep it strictly professional. I don't believe in, if I'm a recruiter, I'm not going to be checking people's social media, like their Instagram or their TikTok, because who they are in their personal lives does not always dictate who they're going to be at a job. That's a two different personality traits. You feel me? I think it needs to be separated in a way. So, I understand it, but then again, I don't. And here's the thing, like, recruiters also checking, it's almost like the same as like looking at the footnotes. It can change the story. You looking at the footnotes and getting that piece of information or additional information can kind of like change how you see me. And it can be completely different from the person that I met, and I just think that it makes people really vanilla. And I know for a long time prior to social media is no different than being a person in the real world. You feel me? But, I know a lot of people go out into the real world if they are professionals and they try to keep this same professionalism across the board. And then when you see them act out of sorts, you're like, oh, gasp. Yeah, they're real people. You're not going to be as robotic at a job as you are. Give me a break. So I don't feel like looking at someone's personal social media that doesn't reflect who they are professionally is a good idea. That's why we have LinkedIn. My resume, check LinkedIn. I give you my references. Boom. You feel me? So here's the thing. Just so you know, I'm not all in my head about this. All right. I happen to be checking, so I have all of my emails up. Now, I'm not this proficient in my regular life with checking my personal emails. Outside of the job, I'd be like, fluke it. So my Gmail, I really don't check that often. And so my Gmail, I have a Gmail account that's attached to my social medias. And I haven't been on TikTok in a while, haven't been on Instagram. But then all of a sudden, the girl's name, which I'm not going to say here, but when I went for this interview that was on Tuesday, which I talked about with my titties out on the video, which is now private for now. Okay. So I go into my email, okay? And this is one that's attached to the socials. You follow? I see such and such viewed your profile. I said, I knew it. Oh, you see? Because sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm all in my head. This may not be a thing. I don't know if this is a thing, girl. You need to stop overthinking things. No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I feel. That's why at this ripe old age that I is now, I don't let people tell me that I'm over the top or I'm too extreme or too analytical or I'm looking too deep into things or whatever have you. You're in your head. No, I'm not. I know people. First of all, I think what really drives us to people's Insta media is the fact that we nosy as hell. One, fair. That's all good. I'm a little nosy. But I'm going to tell you, it has to be something really about you that makes me want to say, oh, let me go, or, oh, let me see if I can find this. Otherwise, I'm not trying to, everybody that I meet, no, not at all. Not at all. But yet still when I go to LinkedIn, I don't see her there. You see what I'm saying? I said I knew it. I knew. And so I went on her profile just to make sure this was the sister. It's her. Now, oddly enough, I ain't get no call back from this job, but you all on my social media. If you are looking for a job, hey, you better get off social media or pause it for a little bit or only put up content that's very vanilla. And that's what I was going to say earlier, and I got off subject here. Is like, I know that people, back in the day, and even still now, you have professional people who try to keep that professionalism in all aspects of their lives, which is extremely boring. Now, if you're naturally like that, kudos. But if you're not, and if you're holding yourself back, that's horrible. You know what I mean? Or you could just be a person who just want to get in on a conversation that's being held right now in the world, or just, whatever. You got to be careful. I feel like social media was one of those places where, oddly enough, if you felt like walking out of your door, you had to present a certain way, go into certain places, you had to present a certain way, and dumb yourself down or silence yourself, silence your thoughts, silence your opinions, you did that. You see what I'm saying? But I feel like now with social media, it's like one of those things where it's like, I feel the comfort of being in my personal space, sharing my thoughts on camera through comments or whatever. But we're speaking about specifically about putting your face on camera, and you can do it. And it feels there's for certain people, a comfortability in doing that. Amen or a woman. But I feel like now you have to be vanilla even on social media. You don't have that freedom. You don't have that freedom because social media has like blossomed now, and people are using it against folks. It's becoming a really strange territory. So, and it's hard for me, right? Because I am opinionated and I want to share those opinions. And so I'm going to have to find a way now getting back into social media. Well, not getting back like that, but you know what I'm saying? Like posting things and having this want to monetize it. But in order, I feel, to monetize it, I need to be true to myself, true to the target audience that I'm serving in some way. And that may not always align with the ideas of the corporations that I work for that's paying me for my lifestyle. So, and it's rough because they have you by the balls because they're paying for your lifestyle. Well, they're not paying for it. I'm working for it. But they may not want their brand tarnished while you're in the midst of creating a brand on your own that works opposite of theirs, which, again, I understand all of that. I understand it completely. So I don't know. It's going to be quite interesting. The one thing I will say I'm learning not to do, have no interest in doing, is becoming friends with people or following folks that I work with. If I work with you, if it's not LinkedIn, yeah, I don't need you following me. I don't need to follow you. We're here, we're working. If one of my pages are public and you want to come in and snoop around, brilliant. But, I don't know. How you guys feel about that? Like, I heard horror stories where people have gotten fired. I told you I've seen things on TikTok, but I know about people in my personal life that have gotten reprimanded for posting something that they had no business posting, someone finding out. Because again, there's this comfort, but now we're noticing and realizing, no, we're under the same scrutiny that when you put yourself out there, you're literally under the same scrutiny that these celebrities are under. So we're starting to feel exactly what we put these celebrities through. If you choose to face the world, face them, you know what I'm saying? With your opinions and with your talents or whatever you're doing, people can take that and run with it. Children going to school. We need to really start. This is really great training ground because I see a lot of kids posting things in school. There was this kid on TikTok who was smoking in the bathroom, got expelled or something like that, and was like, and they were like, oh, it's because these grown adults ain't got nothing to do and going through my social media. They have no business going through my social media. Then someone in the comments said, no, I doubt that it was a teacher that was going through your social media. It was probably the same kids that you hang out with who reported it and showed your content to them. So it's like, this is great training ground for them. We have to learn how to keep things separate. Yeah, you want to show things because you think it looks cool, but let it get in the wrong hands. So I don't know. I'm going to find what works for me on my journey. The reason why I want to share my journey so badly is because I've learned so much, and I think that it'll be helpful to other people. And now I'm in this second phase of my life where I've done everything before. The social media, goofed up with it, work, goofed up jobs, got a car, goofed that up, got apartments, goofed that up, financial things, like all the things that it takes to be a citizen. I'm after 40 at this point, but pre 40, oh man, partying, losing friends, gaining friends, getting upset, dating, sex life, all of that. It's like, yo, bro, you have no idea the knowledge I have right now. And I'm just looking to share it. I found that it's quite difficult to share it with the people that's close to you a lot of times. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm one of those people who, as I get the information, I want to give it. Because I think that that's legitimately what it takes. We need to be sharing this stuff. And you hear so many people say, wow, I wish people would share information. Don't gatekeep this, and that, and the third. But when you try to share it, people don't want to hear it. So, but I do feel that there's people out there in the ether that can really benefit from the things that I've learned. The same way I benefit from people who share the crap that they learn. It is so beneficial that on this journey we learn. That's why people write books. You know what I mean? So when people say, oh, there's no blueprint to life, it's called a book. You just don't read it. There are people who down through the centuries and centuries, they experience things, they fall flat on their behind, they learn from it, and they're like, aha. Well, before there was typing, they were handwriting things and putting it out there, giving it away or selling it so people can have a better understanding and limit the amount of mistakes that they make, because you know what, this person already made them. What greater way to add to humanity than to share your experience and say, hey, listen, this is what has worked for me, this is what not has worked, and then somebody else take that and say, interesting. Well, let me either make my own mistakes, discard that altogether, or keep some of that in mind, and then you add to it. And then you pass it on. Then they add to it, pass it on. You feel what I'm saying? And then it makes life just a little bit more easier. It lessens the amount of time. We don't have, our time here on earth is finite. Like, let's just call it what it is. And the amount of crap that we can avoid or heal ourselves from that we've been through, we can actually get to the better part of life. Now, granted, you still got to go through to get through. You know what I'm saying? That will never change. But the amount of stuff that you can you can alleviate a lot of heartache. You can get to the better part of living. And then you can start to, because you'll always have issues, but at least, okay, I'm not starting from ground zero all the way through my life, or not living at ground zero consistently until like 60. And then it's like, oh, the clock is really ticking. The clock is always ticking, but it's really ticking the older that you get. So I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the conversations that's being had. I feel like the group think needs to shift, and I could add something to that, right? And it's really for me now about how to get to the better part of my life, the best parts, enjoy those best parts. But I think the best parts is actually bearing my soul and saying, hey, listen, this is what I had to learn. And this may help you like deal with grief a little bit better, deal with missed opportunities or friendships that don't always go the way you intended them to go, or get the opportunity, or live your best life. You may not be living your best life because you're holding yourself back, which I know all too well.